Hey, good morning. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's Friday. Thought I'd drop a video. I haven't dropped video in a while because I ain't had much to talk about. But I came across an article where it's talking about Basic Instinct reboot. Uh, I remember the first Basic Instinct, and I really did like that movie, but it's not one that goes in my collection. It just doesn't. But I did like Sharon Stone and all that, and Michael Douglas. I like the cast that was in that movie, but uh, just I'm really getting sick of all the reboots. I really am. Reboots and remakes and all that. We need some really new stuff, you know? Somebody needs to start off and just come up with some. There are so many stories and so many uh, things that you can be creative and, and make up new stories. I just, I don't understand Hollywood, man. I know a lot of people probably watch the reboot. Um, I'm just saying, you guys. I just happened to come across the article. There was a YouTuber who was talking about a reboot, and I was like, "Basic Instinct reboot," and I was like, "Dang, that was a good movie, but it's not in my collection." Um, there's just movies that's just ain't in my collection, you know. And Basic Instinct is not one of them. Even though I really did like that movie, but do I want a Basic Instinct reboot? No. But am I upset about it? No. But what I am saying is that I just don't understand why Hollywood just cannot, these writers' strikes and all that stuff. If they're so good at writing stuff, how come they can't come up with something new? I get it, man. You need to cut the budget. I get it. Sometimes they do stuff new and we don't support it. You know, it's getting to the point, man, where, you guys need to start really focusing on buying yourself some physical copies. Keep telling people, man, buy you some physical copies. You don't have to get like hundreds of videos. Just get stuff that you enjoy. Like the best, I'll be honest with you, the best movies to get. Honestly, the best stuff to get is what you like, you know? Stop relying on that internet to be on all the time so you can stream stuff. Because a lot of times you got streaming services that'll sit back and cut a lot of stuff out. If you're used to stuff being in there and all that kind of stuff, and then they cut it out, then you're gonna be mad. That's why you should collect physical copies, man. Uh, I was just one of those random off the top things I just wanted to talk about because I just was just seeing it making another reboot, another remake. Uh, Another 5, 6, 10 years from now, we'll have another Fantastic Four. I was like, man, come on, you guys, come up with something new. I admit, man, X Men. They should make another X Men. It's been a while, so I get that about X Men, but I'm talking about Basic Instinct reboot. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and this is gonna freak you out a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm tired of stuff being the way they are. I'm used to my characters being this way, and I'm used to introducing characters. Like if I was up and coming actor, I would want to be casting something fresh, not because I'm black. I want to be casting something fresh, starring whatever name I have. You know what I mean? And I'm in the movie, and the movie is good. Then I made a movie. It's not because of my skin color. They check off boxes too much. Take Anthony Mackie for instance. I like Anthony Mackie. I think Anthony Mackie had his hands full. Taking over Chris Evans' role. Even I didn't like Anthony Mackie being Captain America 4. You know, I'm not into this the race swapping. Now you probably sit there and some people's like, oh, that's bullshit, man. No, that ain't got nothing to do with that. There are so many black actors out there, and so many Asian actors out there, and so many freaking Hispanic actors out there that you could cast them into something fresh and make up a story and not sit there and point. This person's black. This person's Hispanic. This person. Don't do that. As far as I'm concerned, Bruce Lee opened the door for a lot of Asians. They talk about Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan ain't got diddly on Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is the one that opened the door for a lot of Asian actors. I'm just God rest his soul. But if it wasn't for Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali and John McEnroe and Sugar Ray Leonard and these are all athletes that I just was watching when I was a fat little farm kid, and each one of them was different cultures. You know what I mean? They was all John McEnroe was a tennis player, white. Muhammad Ali was black. Bruce Lee was Asian. I'm thankful to God, man, that I had some of the people that I watched on TV that just inspired my fat ass to get out there and try to lose weight and try to get myself built up. And I thank God spiritually for having the word of God out there that you could use the Bible in order to keep you going and use that as a foundation in order to, I seen when the first time I seen Arnold Schwarzenegger, I was like, dang, man, look at that dude, man. I wanted to be built, And it goes back further than that, but Arnold was the one that Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then it was Lee Haney. He was a black guy that won 8 Mr. Olympia titles, Him and Arnold, man, just inspired me as far as, working out. And Bruce Lee inspired me, he took that body and just built it up and just, John McEnroe, he just looked like a regular dude, man. And he was just awesome in tennis, man. And then you had Muhammad Ali. Now, I was in 6th and 7th grade when he was big, but, he was the man back then. And then you had Sugar Ray Leonard. And then, not to mention, you had Roberto Duran, you had, and then later on, man, you had Serena and Venus Williams, man, that came out of nowhere, and it just took the world by surprise, man. You don't have to sit here and do all this. Let people speak when they're on the screen. Let their talent flow. You know what I mean? I don't get into the gay stuff, guys. I told you that before. I know people that are that way. I do not hate them. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see 2 dudes putting their tongue in each other's mouth. I don't want to see 2 chicks making out. When I see 2 chicks making out and licking on each other, I sit there and go, God, man, what a waste. And they be looking good, too. I was like, what a waste. But I don't want to be that channel that talks like that. I'm just telling y'all straight out, I don't get into it. But every time I turn on the TV, I'll see stuff on the commercials. I'm sitting there going, is that really real? Because I'm not going to really get into specifics, but there's sometimes I see couples that they put together, and I'm like, I don't hardly ever see those types of 2 people together that much. And if you do, it's like a 2% that you see these kind of people together. I'm not saying it don't happen, but I'm like, and that's what I don't like about commercials, man. I don't know, you guys. These reboots and remakes and this just constant just churning out all this stuff, man. But you know what? You know whose fault it is? It's our fault because we'll keep watching it. We will keep watching it. You're dumb enough to keep watching it. You're dumb enough to give them their money. Then they're just going to keep pumping that crap out. It's just as simple as that. I'm burnt out on Marvel because Marvel has dropped the ball, man. The last good movie was Endgame. The last thing they put out was Endgame. Although I did order Thunderbolts. But just Marvel has oversaturated the market, especially when they did that Disney Plus thing, especially with Disney being so. Disney is just god awful bad. Just god awful bad. I believe with man being with a woman, God made man and women come from the rib of a man. You know what I mean? And he put a woman down here to be, our partners. We're supposed to be like hand in hand. We work together. That's what God made 2 people like that for. He didn't make no in between. But I don't know, you guys. I don't get into Disney. I don't have Disney Plus. I did have Disney Plus, but their shows was just getting to be so garbagey. They was just throwing anything out there, and I guess they was just thinking that they was going to be supported, and they're just not getting supported, man. I never did understand the LGBT plus thing, and here's the reason why. Because I really can't say anything bad about them, because there's not much to say bad about them, because I work with people that's that way, but they don't throw it in your face. I know what they do. I know what their partners are, but they don't throw it in your face. But I don't understand why they never tried to make a streaming channel just for themselves, just to see if it would take off. You know, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna give you a chunk of money, and you're gonna start your own streaming service called the LGP Plus streaming service. See how many people subscribe. You know, have a Hollywood, have just a Hollywood LGBTQ Hollywood thing, and just make your LGB Hollywood movies. See how much money you make. See how that's gonna fly. If the stuff don't make money, if it's not flying, then you're gonna find out a lot of people don't want to watch it. But that's just me, though. I don't really get into talking like that because I don't. It's so toxic. There's so much stuff going on in the world. I just don't feel like me and that channel talk about it. I'm just telling you straight out. I don't get into it. Don't like what Disney's doing. Don't like how they're doing stuff. And I heard that Fantastic Four has got an 89% Rotten Tomato score, so that's pretty good. I'm not going to watch it, though, but I'll watch it on streaming. I'll watch it on digital when it comes out, but I heard it's not too bad. Anyway, I'm just wanting to sum this up. In closing, I'm just sick of the remakes and reboots. My goodness, man. Remakes and reboots. Don't get me wrong. Final Destination, that's not a remake or a reboot, right? Final Destination is just Final Destination. If they keep coming up with a good story, they can just keep pumping them bad boys out. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. I like Final Destination. There ain't no reboot. There ain't no remake. It's just if somebody comes in and got some money in Hollywood, and the guy says, hey, I got a script for another Final Destination. They'd be like, really? He goes, yeah. He said, you want to read it? He said, let me pitch it to you. He goes, all right, man, I got 15 minutes, man, because I got this other stuff I got to work on. You know how Hollywood is. And he started pitching it. That guy goes like this, goes, well, he said, I'll tell you what, man, give me a draft of that. Let me look at that when I get time. I'll get back with you. That's how you do it. It's the writers. These writers strike. They're so damn good at what they're doing, then how come we can't come up with some new stuff, some new stories? There are so many stories out there that you could tell. They just won't tap into them. It's just constant pancake assembly line pumping out stuff. I ain't saying there ain't no good stuff out there. And yesterday, I was talking to somebody, and this guy got tattoos, man, you know. He got tattoos, man. You know, he good guy, man, but you don't want to mess with him. But he come up to me, he said, hey, Vic. I said, yeah. He said, man, I watched Sinners the other day. I said, you did? He said, yeah. He said, man, he really enjoyed it. You know, he really enjoyed it. And I said, man, Nick, I kind of thought you might like that movie. And he said, yeah, man. He said, he was telling me what he liked and what he didn't like about it, but he said overall he enjoyed that movie. But then he came back and told me later on, he goes, yeah, but he said, it's not as good as 30 Days and 30 Nights. I said, I'm going to stop you right there. I said, I get what you're saying, but I said, they're two different types of movies. He said, have you ever watched 30 Nights, 30 Days? 30 Days, 30 Nights? I said, yes, I watched it. Excellent. It's in my collection. I don't compare movies, but I understand what you're saying. I said, but he said, no, man. He said, I ain't lying. He said, I love Sinners. He goes, but 30 Days, 30 Nights is my favorite. And I said, yeah. But it's different. 30 Days and 30 Nights is people that were stuck in Alaska, and it's going to be night for 30 days. There's no comparison to 30 Days and 30 Nights when it comes to Sinners. Sinners is a couple of black guys that came back from Chicago to their hometown. They wanted to open up a jukebox, a juke joint, they call it, and then, boom. The story unfolds. Two different stories. But I get it when people want to compare their little vampire movies. You know what I mean? So... But he loved it. You know, he thought it was good. He said he wants to watch it again. The only reason why I'm bringing Sinners up is because I thought Sinners was a breath of fresh air. I really did. I thought Sinners was a breath of fresh air. I'm damn looking forward to Weapons. Weapons looks freaking good. And let me put this out here. I had no desire to see Superman. I have not one Superman movie in my collection. Even though I'm a big Christopher Reeves, he's the best Superman there ever was. To me, far as portraying Superman. Superman 1 was good. There was a couple of them he made. I just didn't get into them, but I think I like 1 and 2 the most. If I remember, I ain't watched them out. But see, I never was really a big Superman fan, even though I read Superman comics, but I did like Superman, but he wasn't my favorite. The reason why I was a big Spider-Man fan because my little fat ass lived on a farm with my aunt and uncle when my mom shipped me from the city to live with my aunt and uncle out in the sticks on a farm. You know, two gardens, all that grass to cut, all the chopping wood, all the rabbits, the ducks, the geese, the cows. And I mean, you talking, man, best thing ever happened to me though, by the way. I love my uncle for that. I miss him. I wish I could have told him I'm sorry about some of the stuff with him when I got in my teenage years. We butted heads. It is what it is, him and my aunt. But I used to read comic books when Spider-Man. I could relate to Spider-Man. You know why Spider-Man is so relatable? Because he can be killed. Spider-Man had problems. His Aunt May was old. He was trying to take care of his Aunt May. See what I'm going with this? He is so relatable. Spider-Man can do an amazing thing. That's why he's Spider-Man. But at the end of the day, Spider-Man would have got shot in the head. His spider senses would not have been able to save his life. You see what I mean? Thankfully, he never got shot and hurt like that. But Spider-Man could be killed, and he has problems. He was having problems on his job. He had problems making rent. He didn't use his ability to go out and rob banks and all that kind of stuff. Another one, Batman. Batman was a rich dude that had his parents killed. He had the weight of the world on him. And yeah, I talked to somebody that's a real deep dive Batman person. But Batman had, his story was just so compelling because, again, Batman was just a regular dude who just had all these things that he had to just deal with, the death of his parents. He found out that his family name was involved in a lot of stuff. He learned how to fight, and he was smart. He was kind of a detective, but at the end of the day, he was human. Superman, you'd have to go out your way to find somebody that's got some kryptonite. I don't know where you're gonna find some kryptonite. That's the only way you're gonna beat Superman. That's why I just never been a big Superman man. Back to the point, remakes and reboots. I like Superman. Christopher Reeves is my favorite Superman. I like the Man of Steel, which is the other guy. But I don't own them. The only thing I got in here is the Justice League 4K. Brian Snyder's the 4-hour one. I love that. I watched the whole thing. All I'm saying, you guys, is remakes and reboots, man. They need to be put to bed. We need to come up with some fresh stuff. I don't really care about views. I do, but I don't. I got to start winging stuff out here that I'm feeling, but that's why I can relate to Spider-Man. That's why I can relate to Batman, because they're just human. They have problems. They have issues. Yeah, if you want to throw somebody else in there, you got Iron Man. Iron Man had problems too. He had a drinking problem. He had all kind of problems. He had the Stark industry and stuff. Iron Man had, Iron Man could be killed too. So he actually died in Endgame. I don't know, you guys. I hope this video is making sense. It's just that I'm sick of reboots and remakes. I just need something fresh. Something fresh. So, in closing, I want to say we lost a lot of people this year. We lost Gene Hackman. Then we turned around. We lost Ozzy Osbourne. We turned around, lost Malcolm Jamal Warner. We lost the Cosby guy, kid. Turned around, we lost Hulk Hogan yesterday. I just want to say a special tribute to all four of those, actors, man. They really, it's so weird. You had Gene Hackman. Remember Gene Hackman? God, I like Gene Hackman. He was in Enemy of the State, and he was in a lot of movies, by the way. Enemy of the State's the one I really loved him in, and I loved him in Superman. He was good in that. And there was a lot of other movies he was in that he was good. Ozzy Osbourne, me smoking a lot of weed, and I got introduced to rock and roll. And when I started listening to rock and roll, I was like, "Damn, man, this music is pretty good." Because I used to listen to funk. Back in the day, it was called funk. Parliament, Funkadelic, Barkays, Sky. Y'all probably don't know who half those people are. There was a lot of groups I listened to back when I graduated. And then I had a couple of my white buddies, and my cousins. They had a lot of, gotta understand, the white guys had long hair back then, and I was in the 5th, 6th, 7th grade, and they were listening to rock and roll, and one day he left a 8-track. You know what 8-tracks are? Well, anyway, I listened to Jimi Hendrix, and then I went into listen to Jeff Beck. Y'all probably don't know who Jeff Beck is, but this dude could strum a guitar. And then after Jeff Beck it opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. So, then later on, I just started getting into rock and roll. Pink Floyd, you had Toto, Boston, more than a feeling. Oh man, I could just list off some. Oh God, what a fun time. And then I heard about Ozzy Osbourne, and then Black Sabbath, Todd Rundgren. Y'all, I'm naming off a lot of stuff y'all probably ain't familiar with. But anyway, Ozzy Osbourne, man. God bless him and his family. Gene Hackman's family. Malcolm Jamar, man, the guy that played the Cosby kid. He had such a. I remember when I used to watch the Cosbys. The Cosbys was such a big show back then. I remember him, man. He just played that role so good. He had the perfect look, the perfect voice, he just fit that role so much. He was just even when you talk to him on camera, he just had a thing about him. I was taking out trash at work, and this brother walked up to me, man. This thick brother, man. He looked like he played football. He goes, "Hey," he stopped me. He goes, "Look at this," and he put his phone. I'm like this, looking at his phone. I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, man, it just sprung up on TMZ." I said, "Dang, man." I said, "That's the Cosby kid, ain't he?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, man, wow." Then, boom, 2 days later, that was on. Yesterday was Thursday. I heard about Hulk Hogan. That was Tuesday when he told me about that. Then, I'm at work and a girl told me about Hulk Hogan. I was like, "What? Let me tell you about Hulk Hogan." So I'm trying to work out and beef myself up, you know. So it was already Arnold was already putting those movies out, and then Sylvester Stallone, man. Sylvester Stallone, man, his Rambo movies, his first two, I love. The rest of them, not so much, but they were still good. But man, his Rocky movies, though, man, I was eating them things up. Him and Carl Weathers. And here's what I'm gonna talk about. So when I was watching Rocky, I remember when I seen Carl Weathers, man, I was like, "Dang, man, look at that dude's body." I said to myself, I'm just, I'm this early late 20s type of kid trying to work out and trying to lose that weight and trying to get all my stuff tightened up, man. And I seen Carl Weathers come out, man. He played Apollo Creed. Then, obviously Sylvester Stallone played Rocky. When he had his shirt off, he looked good too. So I'm looking at a black guy and a white guy, man, just fucking, sorry, just freaking just jacked, man. Just like, they wasn't all roided out. And then was it Rocky 2? Rocky 2, man, he was doing some type of, I think it was Rocky 2. You can correct me, man. And he was doing that's when I seen Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan, I was like, "Holy crap, who's that guy?" And I remember he walked, and he just, whoa. I was like, "Man, that dude is like," that's the first time I ever seen Hulk Hogan, man. And I love that guy ever since, man. It's where him and Rocky was doing a promotion fight thing where it was just promoting stuff. But man, that was when we seen Hulk. That's the first time I ever seen Hulk Hogan. So anyway, I'm going to say a big thank you and God bless their families, each and every one of their families. And thank you all y'all for what y'all done for the entertainment system. A lot of y'all are dying off and it's you will be missed. And I thank you for all y'all entertaining us, Gene Hackman, Ozzy Osbourne, Malcolm Jamar playing Bill Cosby's son, the Cosbys, Hulk Hogan. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got, you guys. I just thought I'd send that off, man. My prayers are out to their family. And you guys, life is precious, man. Don't take it for granted. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm just going to close this off by saying I'm just sick and tired of reboots and remakes. You know what I mean? So I just hope that these writers can start writing something new, because I'm getting to the point, man, I'm getting sick of watching stuff on TV. It just gets to the point I can't, honestly, you guys, I look at my collection of, look at my movie collection down here and over here and over there and over there. And my cat's over there chilling, and over there and then over there and then over there. I have so much movies that I can watch. I can afford to turn off I can just turn off every streaming services I want, because it's getting to the point where the best stuff is, I'm into the classics. I told you I had a video I threw up. I'm gonna do another classics remake. I'm gonna show y'all my classics again. But anyway, in closing, I like anything that's pretty much old, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s. Early 2000s. I think it was 2000, 2004, 5. I think it was 5, 6, 7. 2007 is when stuff started going into the garbage area. It just took a turn. I was like, what the hell? And I think it was 2007, I think. I know there's a point where it hit 2007 or 8, and after that, it just went to hell. I don't know, you guys. I don't know what year it really turned around, but the early 2000s. Anything from the early 2000s and beyond that, the 30s, 40s, the 50s. I know a lot of y'all can't handle the black and whites. I can. The 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. There's so many good movies out there, y'all. Start collecting some physicals. I'm just telling y'all straight out, collect some physicals, man. They're worth it. You have your own little personal library. I didn't say buy hundreds of movies. Buy what you like. Anyway, God bless. Take care, and we'll catch you in the next video. We'll see you.